America. I'm Mark Levin, and this is Life, Liberty, and Levin Sunday. Thanks for joining us.
Mark Levin has dropped a bombshell. He's leaving Fox News. The announcement sent ripples through political media, a shock to those who saw Levin as an immovable fixture in the Fox universe. For years, his weekend show Life, Liberty, and Levin stood as one of the network's signature programs, blending sharp intellect, conservative philosophy, and long-form discourse into a rare kind of broadcast gravity. He wasn't just another host. He was an institution. His voice bridged radio and television, commanding loyalty from millions who found in him both conviction and clarity. To depart now, at what appears to be the height of his influence, signals more than a career decision. It suggests tectonic movement beneath the surface, a shift in ideology, in trust, in the future of conservative media itself. He didn't fade quietly or slip out a side door. The exit felt deliberate, sudden, but precise. A statement, both to the network and to his audience. Fox News has long been defined by consistency. It has been the steady home of right-leaning voices and familiar rhythms of commentary. For Levin to step away breaks from that tradition, hinting that something deeper has changed. Over decades, he built a following of viewers who valued depth over spectacle, argument over noise. They tuned in not for outrage, but for reflection, and for a worldview unflinching in its conservatism. So why now? Levin had renewed his contracts before. The relationship seemed solid. In fact, Fox had expanded his show in 2023, giving him both Saturday and Sunday nights, a move that appeared to confirm mutual confidence. To walk away after such a vote of faith implies more than fatigue. It points to realignment, ideological, strategic, or both. Behind the scenes, something no longer fit. Cable news is no longer what it once was. Fragmentation, streaming competition, shrinking audiences, and the erosion of loyalty have reshaped the terrain. Once, opinion hosts like Levin held unshakable influence. Now, even the giants must adapt. Perhaps he sees the writing on the wall, that the future lies beyond the traditional broadcast model, or that Fox's path no longer mirrors his own. His departure leaves a vacuum in Fox's weekend lineup. Life, Liberty, and Levin was distinct, an oasis of long-form depth in a landscape that often favored flash and outrage. He refused to trivialize complex ideas, insisting instead on framing politics through philosophy and culture. Without him, Fox faces a choice: try to replicate his intellectual format or pivot to something louder, faster, and more populist. The audience will feel the shift. For many, Levin wasn't just a commentator. He was a compass. His absence may leave viewers searching for stability, some migrating toward other platforms where similar voices thrive, others staying but sensing something lost. The disorientation will be real, emotional even, and the tremors will extend far beyond Fox. Levin has always existed across multiple dimensions: radio, television, publishing, speaking. His move opened space to redefine himself. Free from corporate structure, he could pursue what Fox perhaps couldn't contain, projects unconstrained by network oversight or editorial boundaries. He could join or even build a platform that pushes further, says more, reaches deeper. His exit is both signal and catalyst. For Fox, the optics are delicate. They'll need to frame his departure carefully, as mutual, amicable, strategic. Yet every word of their statement will be dissected. Analysts, insiders, and rivals will parse tone and timing, reading between lines for evidence of fracture. The network must fill his slots swiftly, trying to steady a lineup that now carries an unmistakable gap. But Levin's style, his rhythm of thought, his intellectual weight, those are not easily replaced. From Levin's perspective, this isn't retreat. It's repositioning. He's not leaving the stage. He's changing its lighting. Whether his next act takes shape through independent media, think tanks, or a self-built network, it's clear he sees opportunities that outstrip Fox's limitations. Perhaps he felt constrained by editorial trade-offs, or sensed the institution moving in a direction he no longer shared. For a man of conviction, stepping away may be the only way forward. His decision will spark speculation and likely recalibration. Was it ideology, personality clashes, a struggle for control? Even absent public drama, such departures rarely occur without underlying friction. The whispers have already begun. Who sided with him, who didn't, and what it reveals about the shifting alliances of conservative media. Fox News has long served as the flagship of American conservatism, a single stage on which the movement's central debates play out. Levin's exit cracks that foundation. It challenges the assumption that one network can still contain the entire spectrum of conservative thought. This could mark the beginning of a new era, one where major voices operate as independent entities, collaborating rather than belonging, where loyalty to a brand yields to loyalty to an audience. Levin's move may accelerate that evolution, pushing commentators toward autonomy and away from the corporate machine. The conservative movement will feel the shockwave. Levin's influence has never been confined to viewership numbers. Politicians, strategists, and intellectuals have long treated him as a bridge between base and elite, a translator of ideas into narrative. Without him inside Fox, that dynamic changes. His reach may contract temporarily, but his freedom expands exponentially. And where freedom grows, influence often follows. Still, the risk is real. Fox remains a powerhouse, its scale unmatched, its audience built in. Leaving that megaphone for a smaller, independent one could diminish his reach, at least at first. The question becomes whether his followers are loyal enough to follow him across platforms, across paywalls, into a new ecosystem. If they do, he may pioneer a new model of commentator independence. If they don't, his voice could echo in a smaller room. Yet, for someone like Levin, the trade seems deliberate. Freedom for reach, control for conformity. He spent his career shaping discourse rather than bending to it. Perhaps now he wants to do so on his own terms. Timing matters. Fox itself has been evolving, shifting personnel, recalibrating tone, managing the balance between populism and intellectual conservatism. For Levin, this may have been the moment when the divergence became undeniable. His departure reads not as surrender, but as defiance, a refusal to be tethered to an institution whose trajectory he can no longer endorse. In hindsight, this moment will likely be seen as a fracture point, a dividing line in conservative media, a moment that split the old order from a new. Analysts will dissect it endlessly, tracing fault lines and measuring the aftershocks. Who gains, who loses, which voices rise to fill the vacuum. What's certain is that the conservative media landscape is now in motion. Without revealing his next move, Levin has thrown the entire field into speculation. Fox must adapt. Rival networks will maneuver. Emerging platforms will see opportunity. Audiences, too, must decide where allegiance lies. The effects will ripple outward, across Fox's viewership, into competitors' programming strategies, through political communications, and even into the tone of national debate. One man's exit has become a catalyst for recalculation. Inside Fox, ambition stirs. Established hosts will position themselves as heirs. Rising stars will sense an opening. Internal alliances may shift. The hierarchy is unsettled. In a business built on personality, the departure of one of its pillars reshapes everything, from airtime to tone to strategy. Beyond Fox, the logic of media itself continues to evolve. The power is tilting from networks to individuals, from broadcast towers to personal brands. If Levin transitions to a direct-to-audience model, through streaming, podcasts, or subscription platforms, he could become proof of concept for a new conservative media paradigm. Others will follow. Political figures are watching, too. Who controls message amplification matters deeply in modern politics. A freed Levin could become a more flexible and perhaps more potent conduit for ideas, no longer bound by network approval or corporate caution. Ideologically, his departure will be interpreted through countless lenses. Some will see it as a rejection of populist impulses, others as disillusionment with Fox's compromises. To some, it will appear principled, to others strategic. But everyone agrees it's consequential. His exit also highlights an emerging dynamic, the decentralization of influence. Conservative media is no longer just national. It's local, digital, multi-platform. Levin's move may embolden regional voices to build their own bases, bypassing legacy networks entirely. Think tanks and advocacy groups may seize the opportunity to collaborate directly with independent commentators, bypassing corporate media altogether. As for Levin, his possibilities are vast. Freed from Fox's structure, he can experiment with long-form video, serialized content, hybrid media, documentaries, podcasts, books, or live town halls. He could weave together media and movement in ways traditional networks can't. The business side will be crucial. Without Fox's guaranteed reach, sustainability depends on strategy. Subscriptions, memberships, premium content, partnerships, each becomes a pillar in a new architecture of influence. The success or failure of that pivot will define whether his independence becomes an evolution or an exile. Audience migration will be the deciding factor. Many of his followers are fiercely loyal. They'll go wherever his voice leads. Others are tied to Fox out of habit, not ideology. How many follow determines everything. His leverage, his legacy, and whether this gamble rewrites the rules of media or fades as a cautionary tale. In the coming months, analysts will measure numbers, shifts, and sentiment. Was this an act of courage or overconfidence? Did Fox lose an icon or shed a constraint? Was Levin reading the future or racing ahead of it? For Fox, replacing him is more than programming. It's identity. Do they preserve his intellectual tone or pivot to flashier, populist energy? Each choice broadcasts intent, not just about ratings, but about who they believe their audience has become. Levin's departure forces a reckoning with loyalty itself. Once being a Fox figure meant stability, influence, belonging. Now, it might signify limitation. Other hosts are surely watching, quietly weighing their own futures. A chain reaction could